we're going to go ahead and get into slow flight. So same thing, I like to clean up after my maneuvers, make sure everything's set up like cruise. So now we're going to do that pre-maneuver checklist, which our plane, we have a right to left flow. Still selector, still like the left tank here. Go carburetor heat off. And we're going to be doing slow flight, which is basically like we're coming into land, except we're going to be holding our heading and altitude. But we're going to set the airplane up like we're coming into land. First thing we're going to do is reduce our power. This airplane we usually use about 1900 or so for the approach power setting. I'm going to set that. Start getting my flaps in 1 notch at a time. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 1, 2, full flaps, and then we figure out this pitch and airspeed. Don't spend a ton of time on each notch of flaps, getting it all set up. You just want to make sure you're stable enough to move on to the next one. And then this is where we get our power setting figured out. This is where we get our trim figured out. All that stuff. So we're pitching, holding altitude. There's the speed, right at 45 today. I'm going to add some power, adjust the pitch. And what the ACS says is if you want to hold an airspeed at which any further increase in pitch attitude or any further reduction in power causes that stall horn to go off. That means you basically want to stay within about 5 knots of that or so is kind of a good target range. So I'm going to stay in between 45 and 50. And watching that altitude, we started to get a little low, and then we do what we have to with power. If I have to go full power mid-maneuver to stop that, that's what we do. There's no reason to descend below when we're not giving it everything it's got. But as I was saying, we're holding our altitude, holding our heading. We're at that nice stable airspeed. Everything's looking pretty good. Hearing that horn, all we have to do is relax back pressure, add a touch of power, and then we'll keep going. So then they're going to want to see some basic turns and basic maneuvers during slow flight. So when we go to do these turns, we want to use this turn. I always teach it the turn indicator, the rate of turn indicator, doing a standard rate turn. You can also do like 10 degrees, no more than 20. But I like to start using this rate of turn indicator because when you get into like your instrument flying and stuff, it's nice to have been using it for something at least, even if it was just slow flight. So doing that standard rate turn, and then we're rolling out on this new heading here, 090, correcting any altitude loss or gain that we may have experienced. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing back over to the right. So we're doing our standard rate turn. Make sure we get some experience with that. And it's going to feel slow because we're in slow flight. So we're in no hurry to make these turns. And the reason we want to limit that bank so much is because when we're in slow flight and we're going as slow as we are, you can hear that horn going off and on repeatedly. When you increase the bank and hold altitude, the load factor goes up, which will raise the stall speed. And when we're already kind of flirting with that stall speed, we can't afford to raise it because then we'll stall. So we really need to limit our bank angle in the overall picture of trying to avoid the accelerated stall is essentially what we're doing. We can't afford to increase our load factor at all when we're already going so slow. Then we're in slow flight. A lot of examiners will actually turn slow flight directly into a power off stall. So there's going to be a